Monkey business. I thought that would be appropriate for the beginning of a business show. Welcome to Tuesday night. I'm Catherine, keeping you company for the next hour here on Show Business on Rossendale Radio. And my guest tonight is Hello Nazia Haque, and you're into wealth management.
That's correct, yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your career history and what brought you to this point?
It's quite interesting, actually. I did a degree which has nothing to do with finance. I went to Sheffield Hallam University and did business and biotechnology. From that journey, as I ended, I got a graduate job with McDonald's. So I've done a bit of scrubbing of grills and various things. I did that for quite a few years, and when I was having my first child, it just didn't fit in with the shift patterns to be able to do a job like that. So I then changed my job and became a medical rep, and again it didn't fit into having two children, so I then gave that up as well. Stayed at home for a few years because we all know the cost of childcare is extortionate.
Oh, it is.
And once I was at home, I did a little bit of a part-time job and realised that I was ready to embark on my own career and put my CV on the internet, and I got headhunted by a company in Canary Wharf that trained me to become an advisor. And that was 12 years ago, and it was the best decision I've ever made. And a couple of years ago, I decided to set my own practice up. So yeah, that's where I'm up to now.
Yeah, because I just remembered, I knew you 10, 12 years ago.
Yes.
We were both on the same Tough Mudder team.
We were. So I like my challenges.
You definitely do. And setting up a business is a challenge.
Yeah, and I think it was even more of a challenge because I decided to do that when my little boy was only 6 months old. And I embarked on setting my own practice. It's been quite a difficult journey, I'm sure, for most business owners. It always is, but it's definitely been well worth it now.
Yeah, because you're getting the kind of life you wanted.
Yeah, I think having work-life balance is, I think, important to most parents. Having that time to be able to be at the events with your children, be home in the evenings, but also enjoy building your career and the work you do with your clients as well.
Right, well, we'll find out more about that because I'm not a pro on wealth management, so I'm going to ask you all about it. But first of all, we have got a tune that is dedicated to your little boy, haven't we?
Idris, yes.
Yes, Idris, this one's for... Is he listening, do you think?
I hope so.
Well, this one's especially for him. It's his favourite and he knows all the words, apparently. Is that right?
That's right.
It's George Ezra with Shotgun on The Voice of the Valley. Tonight I'm talking to Nazia Haque, who is a wealth management consultant. Would you say that's your job title?
Yes, yeah.
Now, it sounds simple, wealth management. You think it means looking after your wealth.
Yes, a lot of people take it as just looking after your wealth, yeah.
Can you explain in more detail what it is, please?
I'm going to kind of rename that, and a lot of people get a barrier up because they think you have to have wealth to come and see a wealth manager.
I would have thought so.
Yeah, and I think that's a bit of a myth and a bit of a confusion. And the reality is, a person that's advising you, or if you go and seek advice, it's very much about understanding your current position and basically making that roadmap for the future. And it doesn't matter where you are, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 50s, it's about making that roadmap. And I think a lot of people just think that getting the next better job, the promotion matters. But ultimately, if you don't plan where you want to be and how much you need for the future, how are you going to actually get there? You don't drive somewhere without knowing, how to get there. You need a map. And I think that's the kind of work we do. We kind of map out. So say it's a young person, they might have desires to have children, they may have desires to have a home, or they may have desires to travel or help their parents. Everybody's personal goals and aspirations are different. So I would sit and work with somebody and work out what their vision is and help them start putting, in effect, a saving plan in place and teaching and educating them about how to money manage. Money management is a thing that I wish every school would teach us instead of equations and various things that get taught that we never use. Understanding, what is our tax code and how do we pay it, how we potentially can save money and how not to waste money. There's so much to the subject that it's unbelievable, and what amazes me to this day is every client I always see is always going away with some knowledge, and they're like, wow, I didn't know that. Why didn't somebody tell me that? Why didn't my accountant inform me? Ultimately, we as financial advisors, role is very, very different to the accountant's role.
Yeah, I would have thought that, accountants, wealth management, you think it'd all be the same sort of thing, but it's not, is it?
It's absolutely not. We both have complete different professional experts at different areas. And for instance, an example I use is, if you were to call a painter around and when you did an excellent job, would you say, will you tile my bathroom as well? It's that theory that's the best example I can give. The painter that's excellent at painting is not going to be able to tile your bathroom as well. It's the same kind of thing. Where I specialise in pensions and advise clients on that, and the accountant is looking at what your potential tax bill is going to look like, in that current tax year. So yes, we do very different things, but I think the first starting point is budgeting. That's what I would like everyone to be able to do and learn from a very, very young age. Because when you don't know what's coming in and what's going out, that's when the problems start cropping up. And I'd like to go a bit old school and not go and buy things on credit. Why not take the approach of saving for things that you really want?
100%.
Because that impulsive buying that a lot of people do is what gets them into trouble. It's much better to save and plan for something, because sometimes you'll find something you really desire. Once you've saved up, you realise, actually, I don't want that anymore. I don't need that. So you have to really divide up. Is something essential? Is it a need? Is it a want? Is it a luxury? You've got to define what you want and break it down.
And get rid of the stuff that isn't necessary.
Absolutely. And, I do believe in living in the moment. A lot of people say, but I want to live for now. And I agree, please, you've got to live your life. But it's about saving for that rainy day and also planning for that future as well. Because you've got to have both plans there. Live for now as well as plan for the future as well.
And that is also a cheaper way of doing things, isn't it? Because if you're borrowing money, unless you're in the position of being able to pay your credit card every month, or that it incurs a cost.
Absolutely. And I think people don't realise when there's an APR of, say, 22%, for every £100 you're paying back £22. That's a lot of money when you build it up. And I think the things have got stricter with credit card companies, where they have to show you how much interest you paid per year, and it's really important that you look at that and don't overspend, and work within your budget. There's a lot you can do, how many meals you're having out. Are you having lots of coffees? Because often people say, I can't afford to start putting away for my pension, but then when I look at their bank statement, they've spent money on things which are really non-essential items.
Yeah.
And they could do a little bit of cutting back. That doesn't mean not have fun at all. I mean, everybody needs to have fun.
I know you like to have fun.
A bit of fun, absolutely. But it's about getting that balance. And it's the same like mental health, which is a subject which is close to my heart. Mental health, I say, is very close to your financial health as well. And they're very interlinked, because families that suffer, or people that suffer mental health, are usually starts from having financial issues, or vice versa. They're very interlinked.
Yeah.
So it's really important to get that guidance. And if you go to see say an advisor and you just want guidance, you can just say, I can't pay for advice or anything. Can I have some guidance? It's okay to go and approach somebody and get guidance, and there's lots of websites, government-based ones, that you can go on to kind of get that help as well.
We're going to have to replay this so that everybody gets everything that you're telling us, but we're going to move on now and go with your next tune, which is Celine Dion. Like a bit of Celine, dear. What is it about this song that you like?
I can't even remember the title of it.
My Heart Will Go On from Titanic.
I think it's just music that I listen to when I'm in the car driving. Obviously, being a working mum, I don't have that much luxury of time. So the only time I listen to music is in the car, and these are just tunes that I've kind of absorbed since I've been driving from a very young age.
Right.
And I've been singing along to in the car and stuff. So.
Well, you can sing now. Don't be embarrassed. I won't mind. Celine Dion, and her heart's going on, and she's probably still stuck on the front of that boat, isn't she?
She is.
Every time you hear that, you're like, woo! Anyway, good choice. Obviously, we can't talk business without talking about this year.
Yeah, what a year it has been. Absolutely.
Yeah. Have you found more people are seeking financial advice because they feel like they're losing control of stuff, or have you found that people have gone quiet?
For me, to be honest, it's people that go out to seek financial advice, there's so many barriers to us, guys. You know, people just find it really scary, to be honest, and they don't approach us. It's quite... Most of my clients come by recommendation, and, you know, people talk to people in that sense. But I think my business has been consistent. Am I finding more people are panicking at this moment? The truth is, people don't talk money. People close up and they kind of hibernate when they have a problem. And finance is the one thing that people do not talk about. Yeah, it's a taboo subject. People will rather talk about the illnesses than about their money. That is the reason why people don't seem to get good advice from each other, because they don't say, look, I'm saving in a pension, or I've got, you know, I've experienced this and I had this problem with this credit. They don't talk about it to each other. You don't have a family meal or meals with friends and talk money. Nobody talks money. It's, like I said, it's a bit of a taboo subject.
Yeah.
So I have, like, wealthy clients, and they don't talk to their children, and I educate them that it's really important that they educate their children, because the children need to learn how to manage the money as well in the future. They need to know what inheritance taxes need to be paid. So, you know, it's a confusing subject for most people.
Yeah, I must admit that is one thing that I have talked about. Mine are both grown up now, but that is conversations that we have had.
Yeah.
And I've shown them bank statements and credit card statements. I said, if you do this, this will happen, and if you don't do that, this will happen. And they say to me that I've taught them, they save. In fact, I could do with putting my son in touch with you because he saves.
Fantastic.
For England, he does stocks and shares, and he's only 21.
Brilliant. The earlier the better.
But we need to break that taboo, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Talking about it.
Yeah, and I think that it's quite sad to watch, but because my son's just gone to university, and he came back and he goes, wow, you know, quite a lot of my friends are really struggling at university, like from simple things to managing, you know, their money, to managing, you know, their day, making their food and getting organised. And I think money management is a life skill, and it is so important, and that's one of the reasons why I've made an effort to try to provide financial workshops in schools locally to me to help children. I say that if they can just get one little nugget of information, it can go a long way.
Definitely.
And yeah, and as parents, we are the educators on this. You know, they learn the most from us, and it doesn't matter if we make mistakes. It's okay to share our mistakes, because from them mistakes they can then learn as well. The problem is most people hide their mistakes because they feel embarrassed by it. I've made loads. I can give you tons of mistakes I've made before becoming an advisor myself, which retrospect I wish I hadn't, but in many ways I'm glad I have, because with that now I can basically help more people, and that does make a difference.
And if you're educating the future generations, hopefully you'll reduce their financial worries and troubles as
Absolutely.
they get older. Now, you mentioned you're a parent, so obviously this year you've been running a business and you've had a tiddler at home because the schools closed for a while, didn't they? How did you cope with that?
Well, he wasn't ready for school, so his nursery closed down. It's been challenging. I think when the initial thing, COVID happened, I thought of, like many people, thought, oh, I'll be okay, you know, for a month, 2 months, 3 months. And I think as time went by, I was servicing my current clients, but I wasn't going out looking for any more work or expanding my business. And then I suddenly realised that it was time, you know, I really needed to embrace Zoom. Zoom has become, another part of me now. And I think when my son started school and the older one went off to university and the second to college, I sat back and did a lot of self-talk to myself and sort of did some taking on board technology, and now I'm comfortable with it, and since September I've really picked up, and I'm actually finding a lot of people find Zoom works far better. It saves them time. It definitely saves me time. And also it can be like they're having a conversation but not making any commitment. And that's great for them because they can then go away and have a good think about what's been said, and I can send the information through slowly. And I think, it's a perfect environment. I've also had husband and wives that are working in different rooms connecting through Zoom, which is fantastic to see. So often I'd struggle getting partners in at the same time because they'd be like, oh, I can't. And it's really allowed that. So yeah, it was initially, but I had to, I think, do a lot of self-care myself initially, running and exercising and eating well. And then once I got myself to understanding this is going to stay for a while, I then had to, basically work with my clients as well and give them the confidence, because I was taking them through a stock market crash, which is quite scary as you take somebody down when they're about to lose quite a lot of money. But because I've been in the industry now long enough, I can confidently say that I wasn't really that scared. So I think they have me throughout that journey, and I think that really makes a difference.
Yeah. It's a very personal relationship, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. I think it's the closest relationship some people actually have. So to give you an example, I send Christmas cards out to my clients, and I've had quite a few of the elderly ones ring me up just to thank me. And what that highlighted me, that people want that personal touch, not everything done online, and they want that personal touch with somebody where they can feel that they can pick up the phone, even if it's to purchase a car, which is non-related to anything I do, but just to get feedback, it's this percentage or whatever, and they've got someone to help them, guide them. And I think people like that.
I think they're very lucky to have you. Oh, we've got a great one coming up now. This one's going to get us getting jiggy.
Is it?
It is. We've got Will Smith getting jiggy with it. She's telling me I'm funny.
She's dancing.
Well, I'm in a radio studio and it's music.
We're
getting jiggy in here. No, we're not. Well, I am. You're being very restrained.
This time.
Yeah. So we're talking about wealth management. And like you said, you don't have to have wealth to manage. It's about managing your finances, isn't it? So what are the biggest tips that you would give people who are sort of, especially this year, struggling with the finances? What are the main tips you'd give them to make themselves feel more confident in their position?
I think nowadays most of the bank apps and tools out there are doing this for you. It's just about activating them tools, income and expenditure. So it's very clear. Most of the apps are doing it for you, where it's completely telling you how much you're spending on, say, entertainment, shopping, X, Y, and Z. So they're doing it for you now. It's just about tapping in and looking at that and looking at it on a regular basis. It's no point doing something 1 month and leaving it 6 months and not looking at it. It's about putting a date in your diary and every month having a look at that. And don't get frightened. Whatever situation you're in, you can work with it. Okay? The problem is when people try to, in a way, old way of thinking is kind of the envelopes are coming through the letterbox and you're kind of hiding them in, and thinking it's not happening. That's the worst scenario to be in. It's about just knowing where you are. Be in whichever position you're in, if it's in a financially better position or worse position, just knowing that position and then drawing up a plan.
I suppose it's being honest with yourself as well.
Absolutely. And I think I'm finding a lot of people often don't claim as well, the right benefits that are out there. Sometimes it's because they've had a bad experience. Sometimes they're just scared of the paperwork. You hear stories, they're going to want the money back and I don't want to owe anybody. But a lot of people don't claim rightfully what is theirs. And the benefit system is designed for helping you. I'm not going to be shy. I'm going to be honest and admit this. 12 years ago, 11 years ago, I did have to use working family tax credit to support me as well while I built my career, and now I'm a good taxpayer. So what I'm ultimately saying is, don't be shy. Wherever you are, you just need to take control of that position and start managing it. And if you are getting into some form of debt, there's some really good government-based websites, money advice that you can go to really get that help. And if you are doing well, start thinking about maybe planning for your future as well and saving for that first home. But all I'm saying is, you just got to know the position you're in, and then you can make that
Yeah, so like going back to what you said at the beginning, that roadmap. So you would essentially be a financial sat-nav.
Yes,
people.
Yes. So sometimes, I'm going to give you an example. I've even seen, I've seen a very young lad once, early days of his career, and he just wanted to know information about when he is a multimillionaire, what he would do. And it doesn't matter where you're at. You can be anywhere. To get education on how to manage your money and what you'd like to plan for the future is great. Great thing. And I think all we're saying is, you've got a plan. You can't dream of having a 4-bedroom house if you haven't put a plan in place.
No.
You've got to put a plan in place.
Yeah, and if you've not looked and decided, actually, I need to stop that subscription to that because I don't need it, and don't have as many coffees out and lunches and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's just small things, and it's sometimes people nowadays, because we have so many apps, are paying for something on a renewal and they don't know, and they could be wasting a substantial amount of money on that. Your money is yours. Take control of it. Don't give it away.
That's very good advice. Right, we're going to move on. Got another couple of your tunes coming up. So we've got Montel Jordan. This is how we do it. And this is how we do it. And Nazia is showing us how we do it with money. Montel Jordan, this is how we do it. Now, you want to do a couple of shout-outs, don't you, really quickly, because we are running out of time. But
we're running out of time, can you believe it? The woman that can talk. Just a big shout-out to my beautiful sisters, Sam and Shaz. I love you loads. Not forgetting my friend. I have lots of friends, but some that are listening right now, Amika and Liz and Stan, thank you very much. And not forgetting my lovely boys as well, Zaman, Abbas and Idris.
And they're all tuning in and listening to you.
They are.
And they're all bigging you up as well, aren't they?
I think so, yeah.
We often get guests in and we often keep them as volunteers. So you never know, you might be back one day. We're going to move on to your next tune, which you can dedicate to all those people.
Absolutely.
And it's Happy.
Oh, we like Happy.
We like Happy very much.
We do.
Happy Pharrell Williams here on Rossendale Radio 104.7. We're having a right old natty, every time I press go and put the mics down, we just start. Right, we are running out of time for this show tonight, but have you got any tips for choosing a wealth management advisor?
The first most important thing is you've got to make sure that they're regulated. So, there is a website, FCA website, where you can check the advisors that you've seeked out, if they are regulated. Everybody that is regulated in the UK are on there. And it's really important that you check that out, because we all have our own individual FCA numbers as well. And I think just seek out the person you connect with and you feel that level of trust with. And I think yourself. If something is too good to be true, it is. And if it doesn't feel comfortable, don't do it. And if somebody's rushing you, it's not the right decision. Somebody that's a good advisor will always give you time and give you the information to take away and soak in. But if they're making you sign something very quickly, that's no good.
That's a red flag.
Yeah, that's a red flag, a massive red flag. They should be able to give you everything for you to read in your own time. And nowadays with Facebook and Instagram and websites, and look for testimonials, what other people are saying about them. It's okay to go out and ask people.
So do your homework.
Yes, absolutely.
Okie doke, brilliant. We'll move on quickly with, this is one of your favourites, I believe, Luther Vandross.
Yes.
Dance with Your Father. A beautiful one there from Luther Vandross, Dance with My Father, especially for you, Naz. Thank you very much for coming in this evening. If people want to find you, they can find you on LinkedIn, can't they?
They can, and the Facebook page I have,
Facebook page and your website, naziahackwm.co.uk.
Yes.
So that's how they find you. Well, thank you very much for coming in this evening.
You're welcome.
I loved your tunes. Coming up, we've got Craig with The Country Show, and he's brilliant. Everybody knows it. I'll be back again next week on Rossendale Radio.